This is the Xiaomi 13T, a premium mid-ranger that actually brings quite a few flagship-grade features. Could this be a better deal than the more expensive Xiaomi 13T Pro? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Xiaomi 13T review. The Xiaomi 13T aims to provide many of the high-end features you'd get on its sibling, the Xiaomi 13T Pro, but at a lower price. These include the high-end display and Leica-branded camera setup. There are some differences though, including the chipset, the charging, and the storage options. And you don't get Wi-Fi 7 or 8K video capture here. Let's step back and talk about the design, which is the same on both the 13T and 13T Pro. Our 13T has a glass-like plastic back, and our 13T Pro has an eco-leather backing, but you can get both variants on either phone. The 13T with its glass-type back is so glossy it's like a mirror, and the most notable accent is the square Leica-branded camera island. The back curves into a plastic frame, which imitates metal. As a whole, the phone feels sturdy, and while it's plastic, it doesn't feel cheap. Plus, you get full IP68 rated dust and water resistance on both the Xiaomi 13T and 13T Pro. That's a first for the T series. The Xiaomi 13T's display is a 6.67-inch OLED, with a 1220p resolution, a 144Hz refresh rate, and Gorilla Glass 5 protection. It's just as premium as the Pro models and actually a bit brighter. We measured a maximum of 500 nits with a manual brightness slider, and this can boost up to over 1250 nits in auto mode. The display is very sharp at 446 ppi, and it has great color accuracy. There's support for 12-bit color depth, HDR10+ video, and Dolby Vision. The 144Hz refresh rate can provide extra smoothness on top of a 120Hz panel, but only within certain apps or games. On the home screen, swiping around, we got a maximum of 120Hz, which could dial down to 60Hz when idling to save energy. For audio, the Xiaomi 13T has a stereo speaker setup with Dolby Atmos support. The speakers have very good loudness and good sound quality, with nice bass. You can check it out for yourself through the provided link. You only get one option for storage on the Xiaomi 13T, 256 gigs, and that's not expandable through microSD. And for biometrics, the 13T has a responsive under-display fingerprint scanner. The interface of the phone is Xiaomi's MIUI 14 on top of Android 13. If you've used a recent Xiaomi phone, the experience here is basically the same. The 13T has better software support than most other Xiaomi phones though, 4 years of major Android updates, and 5 years of security patches. If you'd like to find out more about MIUI 14, you can check out our dedicated video. Now let's get into the chipset. It's a MediaTek Dimensity 8200 Ultra. That's a minor update over the chipset in last year's Xiaomi 12T, and it's meant to provide high-end, but not necessarily cutting-edge performance. In contrast, the Xiaomi 13T Pro brings the latest flagship hardware, with about double the power when it comes to graphics. Still, in benchmarks, the regular 13T puts up solid numbers. It consistently trails behind phones running a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, last year's flagship silicon. So again, the Xiaomi 13T's performance is in the ballpark of an older flagship. The sustained performance and thermal management here are excellent too, with the Xiaomi 13T completing our prolonged stress test with hardly any throttling. Like last year, the Xiaomi 13T has a 5000 mAh battery, and the battery life is about the same this time around, with an overall endurance rating of 101 hours in our proprietary tests. That's along the same lines as the competition, but nothing too impressive. Xiaomi has actually downgraded the charging here. The 12T had 120-watt charging, but the 13T only supports 67 watts. It seems like they did that just to further differentiate this model from the 13T Pro. You don't get the blazing fast speed here, but the 13T is able to charge from 0 to 70% in half an hour, which is way above average. The camera setup is just the same as the Pro model. There's a 50-megapixel main cam, a 50-megapixel 2x telephoto cam, and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera. The cameras use Leica color science, and you'll be shooting using the Leica Vibrant color mode by default. Shooting in Leica Authentic will get you more toned-down colors and more contrasty output. The main cam's default 12.5-megapixel photos are excellent, with plenty of detail and sharpness, wide dynamic range, and no noise. In Leica Vibrant, the colors are lively, but they still aren't over the top. The Leica Authentic mode goes for more accurate and realistic colors, and higher contrast with deeper shadows. There's a subtle vignetting effect too. In low light, the 13T produces sharp photos with plenty of detail, even in the shadows. The dynamic range is wide with balanced highlights and shadows. The colors and contrast are nice too. There is an automatic night mode, but it doesn't tend to kick in with the main cam. If you do force the night mode on, you'll get an improvement in highlights and light sources. While the Xiaomi 13T Pro can shoot 8K videos, on the regular model you max out at 4K. The 4K footage from the main cam has excellent detail, sharpness, and dynamic range. The contrast could be better though, and the white balance is on the warm side, with a bit of an orange tint. Now let's talk about the 2x telephoto cam. Its 12.5 megapixel photos are pretty nice, with a wide dynamic range, accurate colors, and nice contrast. It's a little more sensitive to lighting conditions than the main cam though, and some indoor shots come out a bit soft. Portraits are taken with a telephoto cam by default, and as long as there's plenty of light, they come out quite nice. The subject is detailed and sharp, and the separation from the background is accurate. In low light, the default photos from the telephoto cam have adequate detail and wide dynamic range. They are a bit soft and noisy though, and the auto night mode doesn't tend to kick in by itself. Forcing the night mode on adds some sharpness and takes care of noise, and the overall results are good. 4K videos from the telephoto cam are excellent. The footage is sharp with lots of fine detail. The warmth and orange tint remain. 12 megapixel photos from the ultrawide cam are decent for this sort of camera. The detail and dynamic range could have been better, but the overall looks and processing are similar to the main cameras, and the sharpness is acceptable. At night, the ultrawide will generally get the auto night mode processing kicking in. The photos have some extra sharpening added, cleaned up noise, and balanced out highlights and shadows. The photos are a bit on the darker and contrastier side. When it comes to video recording, the ultrawide produces the same rendition and colors as the other cameras, but understandably with less detail and sharpness. The Xiaomi 13T has a 20 megapixel front-facing cam, and the selfies aren't great. While you do get good dynamic range and nice colors, the 20 megapixel selfies are soft, with little fine detail. So that's the Xiaomi 13T. It's an excellent upper mid-range phone that has a lot to offer. IP68 waterproofing, a great display, nice cameras, plenty of software support, and a solid chipset. If you're a gamer or you really need hyper-fast charging, you might consider upgrading to the Xiaomi 13T Pro, but otherwise you get basically the same experience here. The Xiaomi 13T covers nearly all of the bases and provides plenty of value, and it's worth recommending. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for alternatives to the Xiaomi 13T on our channel, you can check out our reviews of the Samsung Galaxy S23 and the Nothing Phone 2. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.